Dear Mr. President, Mr. Volodymyr, I am delighted to welcome you back to Athens. First of all, I would like to express my deep indignation at the intensification of Russian attacks on non-military targets, which is leading to casualties among the civilian population. We stand shoulder to shoulder with the Ukrainian people. You know that from the very beginning Greece has been on Ukraine's side against the Russian invasion of its territory. Greece has taken the side of those who defended themselves against the bloody aggression that violated every notion of sovereignty and legality, and it has played an active role in supporting your people together with the entire Western world. This is our principled position, which stems from our absolute respect for the status of the United Nations. For Greece, it also accords with our conviction that the use of armed force for aggressive purposes is unacceptable. For Greece, the inviolability of borders is non-negotiable, and any unlawful act of invasion will always find us on the opposite side. I say this because we understand very well what this means for our own nation, since for us the wound of Cyprus remains open. The invasion and illegal occupation of the northern part of the island continues to this day. Therefore, it is only natural that we are in favor of an unconditional cessation of hostilities. And, of course, we demand a just solution to the issue of a just peace. We continue, to the extent of our capabilities, to support the courageous resistance of the people of Ukraine. We support it in all bodies, including the Security Council, where Greece is currently a non-permanent member, in the institutions of the European Union and, of course, in the processes of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. Be assured, Mr. President, dear Volodymyr, that you have Athens as a reliable ally. We have proved this by implementing all European sanctions against Moscow, despite their considerable economic cost. At the same time, we have spoken out in favor of Ukraine's European course. This is a complex and demanding process in which, however, we are ready to contribute. Dear Volodymyr, relations between our countries are now acquiring another important dimension. It is the new safe energy artery. It runs from south to north, and it runs from Greece to Ukraine. And this is thanks to the construction of a vertical energy corridor and a connecting access from the city of Alexandroupolis to Odessa. In this way, Ukraine gains access to reliable sources of energy, and Greece becomes a hub for supplying American liquefied natural gas to Central and Eastern Europe. This makes a decisive contribution to the energy stability, resilience, and security not only of our region but of yours as well. It is a project that is now becoming possible thanks to Greece's geographical position, its infrastructure, and its strategic partnerships. Above all, these are the partnerships concluded in Athens in the framework of the Ministerial Meeting on Transatlantic and Energy Cooperation, which shows that our country is already recognized internationally as a hub in the wider region. It is also thanks to the declaration of intent and the agreement we have just signed on the sale of natural gas. And at the same time this agreement reflects the intention to implement a project that will stabilize Ukraine's energy network. This is thanks to American gas. All of this is undoubtedly catalytic on the path to independence from Russian natural gas. Since Europe will stop buying Russian gas, which will no longer need to be brought to our continent. At the same time, the Ukrainian energy network will become stable, and Greece will be a provider of energy security in the region. Undoubtedly, this is the path to becoming independent from Russian gas. And Europe will stop buying Russian gas. Our country plays a leading role in regional initiatives aimed at this goal. With the city of Alexandroupolis at the forefront, a key point through which, incidentally, Allied and humanitarian assistance to Ukraine is already passing. With President Zelenskyy, we also discussed ways of further supporting Ukraine, always in cooperation with our partners, as well as the prospects for our bilateral cooperation. One of the most important issues concerns assistance in the post-war reconstruction of Ukraine. Greek companies have the knowledge, experience, to make a decisive contribution to this crucial process, so that the wounds heal. We will be with you both in the construction industry, as well as digitalization and other industries. And I would like once again to reiterate our interest in the city of Odessa. It is a symbolic city, which has historical and cultural ties with Greece. And at the same time it is a city that inspires Ukrainians. And it serves as a bridge city between the Black Sea, Central Europe, and the Mediterranean. A city that connects Greece with Ukraine. I would say that this is a natural continuation of the story that has united our peoples in the course of time. Citizens of Greek origin have lived for centuries on the shores of the Black Sea. They thrived and made their contributions there. So, our relationship has strong roots. Today they are changing and developing, and of course they will continue even after this chapter is closed. Dear Volodymyr, the women and men of Ukraine have been fighting for freedom for almost 4 years now, winning our respect and admiration every day. They are giving lessons in courage and endurance, and inspiring every democratic citizen from one end of Europe to the other. Let them know that Greece is and will be with them. In conclusion, I would like to express my satisfaction with the high level of cooperation between our two countries, which we have confirmed today with a view to mutual understanding in political, economic and, especially importantly, energy matters. Therefore, dear friend President, I would like to thank you sincerely for our productive meeting. Once again, welcome to Athens.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Dear Kyriakos, thank you very much for such words of support, for such warm words. Mr. Prime Minister, distinguished guests, members of the media, dear people of Greece. First of all, this is great gratitude to you from all our people for such principled and tangible support by Greece for our defense in this war, and for the support of our people, our sovereignty, territorial integrity and the independence of Ukraine. From the first days of Russia's full-scale invasion and for more than 3 years of this war, Greece has been helping us and has been taking part in joint work with Europe and with other partners. so that we can finally reach the conditions under which peace will become possible. And we really appreciate your support and your concern. Today we have an extremely important agreement, an agreement on the supply of gas to Ukraine. In fact, every night now the Russians are striking our infrastructure. Above all, our energy infrastructure. Most of the power plants in Ukraine, our gas production facilities, our thermal power stations have simply become targets for missiles. For ballistic missiles, drones, Iranian drones and North Korean missiles. Many different weapons are flying into Ukraine. We restore what has been destroyed every time the Russians strike, but this really requires time. It requires a great deal of effort and equipment. As for gas, it requires gas imports. In order to compensate for the Russians' destruction of our own production. Our agreements with Greece today are an important part of the large energy package we have prepared for this winter to ensure that Ukraine is supplied with gas. I would like to thank you once again, dear friend. And I thank your team and the companies for making this possible. Dear Mr. Prime Minister, I thank you personally, and I thank everyone who is helping so that such agreements exist and so that we can implement them. Gas supplies will begin already in January. And it is important that our first agreements will be carried out in the first quarter. And in addition to the agreement on the prompt supply of gas, there are also long-term agreements. We discussed this today with the Prime Minister. Heads of our energy companies discussed it and reached agreements. And here, as Prime Minister Mitsotakis has already said, we have our bilateral agreements that have been achieved. I also extend my deep gratitude to the American companies, the Department of Energy, and President of the United States Donald Trump for ensuring that we will be able not only to receive natural gas from Greece but also through Greece. Because Greece truly has such a global infrastructure which is in Greece, we will be able to get energy from the United States of America. We are grateful to the people of the US and to the President once again. As for our front, I informed the Prime Minister today about the situation on the battlefield. About the prospects and opportunities we currently have to intensify diplomacy and help bring this war closer to an end. The key is continued pressure on Russia, which started this war and is doing everything to prolong it. Only this year, there have already been dozens of opportunities for a ceasefire and for more meaningful steps to guarantee security, but all such peace proposals were spurned by Russia. That is why it deserves further sanctions. That is why it deserves further pressure. We will be very grateful to Greece for supporting the relevant decisions at the level of the European Union. And we deeply appreciate that Greece supports our humanitarian efforts, our attempts to bring home the Ukrainian children abducted by Russia, and these are thousands of children, as well as our civilians and our prisoners of war. This is an extremely painful issue. Some of the captives have been held by Russia on temporarily occupied territory and in Russia itself since 2014. When the aggression against us began. And we are trying to bring back all our people, all our adults, our children. We will be grateful to Greece for its help in this effort. We are ready to provide all the lists. I would like to thank Greece for its support for Ukraine's European integration. This is a part of the important security guarantees for all of Europe, above all its geopolitical and economic security. The time of this war and all the existing challenges, energy challenges, logistical challenges, the need to develop Europe's industry and protect Europe from any invasions. All this requires large-scale daily interaction and, of course, proper interaction at the level of the European Union. We also count on the participation of Greece and Greek companies in our post-war reconstruction. And today we presented to Greece our capabilities in modern defense production. Ukraine, defending itself in this war, has developed a lot of samples of really effective weapons. We invite our partners to cooperate to establish joint production and carry out joint efforts for stronger European arsenals. We hope for results. Glory to Ukraine. Thank you.